So it's working?
Yeah, he's going. He's going right now.
All right, so here we go. Coming live from my Trial Master, sitting in traffic. We thought it would be good to do a quick introduction because in our typical sort of half-assed way, we had the pleasure of sitting down with Miss Lynn Calder, president of INEOS Automotive. We had the pleasure of sitting down with her yesterday and, of course, did not do a formal introduction, did not do a very welcoming start. We just kind of turned on microphones and started going.
We just started chatting after she made us a cup of coffee and got us some waters and stuff.
Yes.
Which was, thank you very much. We appreciated that.
Yes, and for what it's worth, Lynn was kind enough, our original diary entry blocked out an hour, and she donated nearly 3 full hours of her day to sit down and talk to us, which in reality was her sitting down to talk to the 11,000 of you who are registered members, and then everyone else who's going to click into this.
I was still blown away by that she sat down with a couple of hacks like us.
Absolutely.
But the questions that you guys voted up, we posed them. She was able to answer some others. It was like, hey, I really need to get to the technical team, but I'm going to get back to you. So those have been sent off to Mothership in London, and we're going to get the technical squad back. But a couple of the upshots of the entire thing is this is going to be an ongoing process. This is the first of many, and we are hoping to line up the various department heads, including the head of the technical department, chief engineers, and all of their colleagues. So, we can really get into the whys and wherefores of how things were done, why they were done, and just deliver on the answer that the general mass public don't care about, but some of us do, because we're a bit geeky on this stuff.
Yeah, and as unique as our community is, that's not an insult. As unique as our podcast is, which is self-deprecating, I think the value in it, especially for someone like that, to donate their time. Hi. Can I call you back?
What?
Can I call you back?
That's all right.
Yeah, fine.
All right, bye. So it was very kind
there was a cameo there,
of Lynn to donate 3 hours of her time. And, the impression that we got, or the vibe that we got, was, she allotted X amount of time. And then because the conversation was productive and it was, we asked some tough questions, but it was non-confrontational. It was our philosophy is like, we're just kind of sitting around BSing. And that's kind of how the session was, except that the topics matter to you guys. And that's where, unlike going on a big podcast, a famous podcast, pretty much anyone who's going to tune into this is a Grenadier person, not just a generic I like cars person. And so we hope that that her being so candid with us sort of helps all of us early adopters in particular just feel that the company's going in a good direction.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah, so it's going to be chopped up into some segments simply because of the length. I mean, I don't know if anyone listens to 15 minutes of us, let alone 12 times that.
Most people don't.
Yeah. But yes, so there we go. This is our somewhat nice introduction to the situation. But be excited, because we were, and it was a real pleasure. We learned about the new USA headquarters, which we weren't able to meet in because it's still in the process of being built, but that's super exciting.
Yeah.
And so that's where we were yesterday.
Yes, we were. And once again, thank you for the coffee. All right,
there we go.
I think that worked.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Oh, if you don't like that, then that's on you.
Yeah.
Just say something. I'll make sure this one works. I know these ones do.
Toast.
Oh, come on. Yeah, you're good.
Did it work?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
You ever see the original Mission Impossible? With Tom
Probably,
Cruise?
but a long time ago, yeah.
It's from that. When he has the thing on, and that's when he speaks into the mic. He says, "Toast, toast." That's what I do.
Do you know, you just gave me a real, because that happens a lot where someone will say, "Oh, just say something," and my mind always goes completely blank.
Toast. Toast is where it's at.
Okay. So you're going.
I got a blinky red light. That means
Good.
I'm going.
That means it's on.
Okay.
God, I hate GoPro.
I know.
Should have brought some real stuff from work.
Yeah, that would have been.
That looks pretty professional to my
Oh my God, your flattery
Yeah.
will get
No,
you
seriously,
everywhere right
I'm
now.
impressed. I would be a
Well,
disaster.
I saw you spoke with Matt Farah at Smoking Tire. This is a little fancier than this, just a little bit.
I mean, that was a pretty big highlight, just
Yeah.
because he showed me around his car garage.
Yes, it's a whole.
And some of those setups are just the podcast studios and all the rest. I mean, it's a full fat
Yeah,
recording
it was
studio.
incredible. Like
You
I
know,
could
the
have moved
editing
in
booths
there
and everything
quite
behind
happily.
it.
Well, yeah, and I think that's one thing I suppose I want to say up front, and it's a little bit twofold because it's about the Q&A, but it's also about this conversation. I mean, this is not like a one and done for us, right? You know, we do want to kind of like we want to.
We'll
have,
see how it goes before you commit to more.
Now I'm scared. But it's not just for me, right? It's for other people in my team. Like, you know, I mean, we can get Toby on this, we can get Hans-Peter Pessler on this, like, and you know, if there are specific things that we really want to get into, but you know, want to build a relationship, want to have discussions, want to help, you know, and some of it is about myth busting, because some things, you know, that are on the internet are not right. But also some of it is just about, there are a lot of questions and we do want to answer them, right? So we won't probably get around to all of them today and I won't have all the answers. But what I want people to understand is we are listening. You know, we know that we haven't got this 100% right, far from it, whether it's the product or how we're getting it out there. We're really early, we're really young, we're trying really hard, but that doesn't mean we're getting it right. So we are listening, and we want people to know that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this a bit later, but that has been a thing, a point of concern because it's super open. You had the series, the building series with, is it Mark Williams?
Yes, Mark something. It's maybe not Williams.
Which everyone was like, "This is incredible. This is great." And then obviously, it's like now we're making vehicles, you know, for real in production, you know, side of things and getting them out there. And then that has all sort of petered off. And then, you know, the content that's been put out. And this is what I've spoken to Nick about a lot. I said, it's great, but it's super short form, rather than like the 20-minute thing that somebody watches on their break at at lunch.
Even stuff like that's super helpful. Do you mind if I take some notes during this?
Absolutely not.
Like, because I've got like a bit of brain damage from the amount of stuff I'm trying to like keep in there all the time.
I was going to say alcohol, but I won't.
But actually, I mean, stuff like that is just, it's super basic, the kind of things that we should know, but it's the kind of thing we don't really. And, you know, everybody of a certain age has the attention span of a gnat these days, but that's not everyone.
So, and this is put specifically like the client base, because I was speaking to Mike, who runs the Grenadier, you know, the Oktoberfest, and it's like, what's your demographic? He said 53. I said, we've come in at, what is it, 56?
Yeah, when Gene did all that work.
There's one of the guys on here is a statistician, and he's
awesome.
one of the earliest ones.
He is like VIN number. He's like one of the lowest VINs.
Yeah, it's in the very low hundreds.
That's very cool.
And that particular guy, it's the first off-road vehicle he's ever had.
Oh my goodness.
And he's learning as he goes. He's been taking it apart and doing stuff. And the first time he took it out, he was over in Croatia visiting his son. And he reversed it into a tree and he broke the lens on the back. It's like, just put a bit of red tape over it, you'll be all right until you get back. But there's so many of these stories.
That's really fab. And look, we understand, and look, I don't want to kind of get, you know, into it before we get into it, but we understand that, you know, those days were much better in terms of the openness. We get that a lot from retailers, from customers, and it's not an intent or, you know, oh my goodness, you know, we're just going to be really closed off. I am the least corporate person. Like, I don't want to be a corporate person. I don't want us to be a corporate hidden identity. I think, though, one thing I do always say, it's an awful lot easier, or I think it was an awful lot easier talking about what we were going to do and, you know, be sort of talking about, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. We're firmly knee deep, elbow deep, whatever, in the execution phase now, and it's just really hard. And that's not kind of like, that's not in any way, woe is us. We've got to get this right, which is why I'm here. It's why I want to listen. But the last couple of years, we have just been heads down, backsides up, just working really hard to try and get this thing off the ground. And I think now is the time that we have got the ability to course correct, breathe, come back up and actually go, okay, remind ourselves what we actually want to be here. Again, why we're here.
Which, and if I could just ask this, because this is something I listened to.
Starting now.
I don't know, are we?
I kind of felt like we were
All right,
eased in,
okay.
No,
right?
I'm sorry. I was just going to say.
Yeah, let's just go.
It's all good.
It's been so you may not have been, I don't know if you were on board yet when they did the PTO driving tour in America.
Yeah,
Maybe right before you.
it was around the time that I joined that we were doing that tour. Yeah.
So we went, and it's probably only about 40 minutes from where the new headquarters is in New Jersey. It's in New York, Eastern New York. And my brother came with me to do a drive, and the whole discussion we had was, who is this for? And I know I'm not used to that. In the car, I know who it's for me, and I'm just someone who's interested in off-roading. I'm a defender, dysfunctional defender lover, and a Land Rover person coming from that. I love the way it looks. So that was me. But at this event, there were so many people who I would not have said, that lady is interested in that vehicle. Yeah. And it seems to me, has that changed?
I don't think so.
No, you think it's the same people from 3 years ago are still the same audience?
Yeah, or at least it's still varied, right? So I think that what we find is that this vehicle, because there's not really anything like it on the road today, which is why we exist, because we're kind of going off in such a different direction when it comes to technology, people of all sorts of flavors are embracing it because it says something to them. It might just be, I want a head unit that doesn't have a million menus that I go through the touchscreen, and actually I really like the fact that it's tactile. Or it might be, I like the boot space for my dogs, or getting a whole bunch of sports equipment in the back. Or it might be, I'm a massive enthusiast and there's no one that understands the engineering of this vehicle more than I do. And I think we really do, all the way through to Rodeo Drive. It looks different, and I might only keep it for a year, but actually I just want to cruise around with something that nobody else has. I think we really do run a spectrum of people that are interested in it.
Yeah. Do you drive one?
I do, of course.
You daily it through London.
I daily it through London. Yeah, I do drive it a lot through London. I drive, and I'm probably in Grenadiers most days in all of the various countries that I go to as well. And look, I mean, if we kind of take a step back, am I a customer for the Grenadier? If I had nothing to do with this company, I would own a Grenadier. And that's probably not for the same reason that you would own a Grenadier. I'm much more, I've owned four-wheel drives in the past, not particularly good ones, like Shoguns and things like that, Mitsubishi, Japanese.
You've got to cut your teeth on something.
Yeah, but I wasn't the kind of person that had it in low gear. I was the kind of person that threw a whole bunch of road bikes in the back and used it to just slog stuff around. It was very much a sports utility vehicle for me. So I would own a Grenadier because I like a big car, I like putting lots of stuff in the back, and I like driving 4x4s. It's, I'm that more aesthetic than the real kind of authentic user like you. So the fact that I have one now and I get to drive this car every day, which I love, but also have learned, not in a way that you two would recognize, to go off-roading, because I've done some really awesome trips in it. I've done some things that I would never have done before, and I've done it in a pretty safe way because I've had people teaching me how to do it. I've got, the chief engineer of the vehicle works for me. My boss designed and engineered this vehicle and brought it to the world. I've got the people around me who really know this vehicle, so I'm so lucky. But I feel like I've now used it in anger, and I love that.
You've used that term in another interview, and that's a great term because that's kind of right? That's kind of appropriate for
I
for
go
how
with
it
that.
gets used. But I daily mine, you daily yours.
Yeah, and in the most arduous of conditions, it's like the school run, shopping, fighting through traffic,
Yep.
which it makes its own space, is what I find.
People get out your way.
To put it bluntly, yeah.
We need to get you in. I know we haven't launched it in the US yet, but we've launched the LaTeX.
Yeah, I saw it. It was at my dealer.
Like people really get out of your way when you're driving that.
The cartoon truck.
It was at the.
Not a fan, Stu.
No, do you know what? I'd like it, and we did, an episode, and we really spoke about the whole derivative thing, where I've got friends in Monaco. I spent a lot of time down there as well, and they sent me a photograph of the ones that they got as the fire trucks. There's a Pompier. I've got a couple down there, and it's those ones that. Yeah, you can have a vehicle that it does X, Y, and Z, but it's when you get the third party taking it and modifying it into something else. I mean, for me, that's the really interesting stuff, because anyone can go to the showroom. But those ones, you see it now with the old Land Rovers. It's like the weird oddball ones, just from a financial point of view, are worth so much.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see a vehicle that's being adapted for something else.
Especially when it's something, we're getting into a lot of emergency services at the moment. We've got hundreds of cars in emergency services, whether it's fire, border force, police, ambulance, Coast Guard. These are vehicles that, the people that we trust to help us in our worst times are trusting our vehicle. And I think that's really, I don't know, it's kind of bordering on emotional for us, I think, that's starting to take some shape.
Yeah, it's that thing of you're trying to create your own legend, and a big part of that is the durability.
Yeah.
I won't say reliability, because that's a separate thing, but the durability, and that can only come out after 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Or like the ones that you got in the salt mines in Germany.
Yeah.
When the cycle for those vehicles is 3 years, and then they're scrapped essentially. So if you can make that 4, price reduction that company can have, which is huge on their overall.
Yeah.
And the same with the Australian stuff. And
yeah. Australia's an interesting market, right?
Yeah, I was down in Australia in the last week of June, and we talk about the market a lot because it is utterly unique as a market in a really interesting way. And the things that are really important to them about the vehicle are not things we hear in other countries. And that's just because of the use case predominantly, and how vast the country is, and how inhospitable it can be if things go wrong. Africa being similar, in terms of the how bad can get if you don't have the reliability, durability, and the capability to get out of difficult situations. So what great places for us to cut our teeth and listen and learn.
Yeah, because we've said this before, like America's its own. From the automotive sector, we have our own thing. We're very different, I think. And then there's sort of Europe, and then Australia. Yeah. And it's kind of 3 really different groups of people, where here people bitch about cup holders. They're not worried about that in Australia.
I have heard this.
They're more worried about load rating in Australia than they are cup holders.
Load rating and auxiliary fuel tank.
Right. Yes, that is what they're worried about.
But that's where the aftermarket comes in.
Yeah.
Because, they do the engineering and they can upgrade it. And I believe, you probably know more than I do on this, there's companies that are working on this now to
absolutely.
raise it.
We're actually looking at partnering with one of them as well, so that we can actually offer it. It'll still be in the aftermarket, but until we, from a series production perspective, have a GVM upgrade that we can, with partners, offer it. But it's been done.
Yeah. And you've got the template with LaTeX.
Yeah, exactly.
So as a company, you know how to do that already.
Absolutely.
Are they fun to work with? Have you been to Germany to work with those guys?
I have been to Germany to work with those guys. Andreas is really creative, actually, because Portal Axle is one thing, that's the engineering. He understands that really well. He's done that for other brands. But he loves the Grenadier, and he's got loads of ideas of things to do with it, whether it's lowering it, whether it's single cab pickup. He's done a really nice design of it. He's been pushing some of the Portal Axles into German fire services who've been using it, in really quite tough situations like flooding. This was last year. no other vehicle could get in, but the kind of lifted portals could get in. So yeah, Andreas is pretty fun to work with.
I mean,
He's got lots of ideas.
Their G-Wagon catalog is like legendary.
Yeah.
Like the amount of stuff that but they've been doing that forever.
Yeah.
So we were kind of happy when they jumped on board pretty early.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, getting things from there to here isn't easy. But now we're getting some U.S. companies who are acting as distributors for them, and some of the other ones as well. But they know their stuff.
Yeah, and look, that's the plan for the US. We want to launch the portal axles in the US, and we just need to do that with a partner rather than, have Andreas do everything and then try and import it, because it's just really expensive. And we just need to find people that can work with him to do it in the same way that he does, so that we can trust that it's being done properly.
And in that case, it doesn't need to be rehomologated or right, like
because it's in the aftermarket, right?
Okay.
So
that's
same for Europe as well.
Right.
I mean, it's still homologated, but it's done on a single type approval basis.
Right, not like if you made a change to standard vehicle.
Would be huge. We'd be doing all the crash testing, and everything,
which-
emissions testing.
Right,
So-
even though it isn't, one has nothing to do with the other, but you have
Yeah.
to start over.
Yeah. So this way you can do small series, which is all we plan to do with it. So
Well, yeah,
keep it quite exclusive.
they look good. I saw, like I said, I guess they were making tours. They were at different dealerships for a little while. And
Yeah, we've got a few prototypes that have been
and
kind
the,
of
the
just
wagon was there. The light blue wagon was there.
Yeah, the pickup. was
And
there.
then
Oh,
an arcane one was there, like a really nice olive greeny kind
yeah,
of color. It's
yeah,
a really pretty color.
squall green. I think
Yeah.
we've called that one.
great. It's a great.
So it was fun to see them. And then just unrelated, but like in the arcane program, is it literally any color you want?
Yeah.
Like you just say, here, color match this wallet. And
Yeah, yeah. So we, with the Detour, which was the first kind of Arcane Works vehicle, just to show kind of, and it was really just to start the journey. I mean, the Detour was really, it's just color and trim. It's really just showing actually, with the finesse, if that's the kind of Grenadier you want, if you want more finesse, if you want kind of more luxury, you want a different feel to it, then this is the kind of journey we can take it on, if that's what you want. We'll also do, way more off-roady types. We'll look at engine calibration. We'll look at different powertrain. I mean, Arcane will be a fun playroom, I suppose, for people. But we launched 4 colors for Detour just to kind of showcase 4 different new colors.
Yeah, the green looked great.
Yeah, the green is lovely on the Grenadier.
yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it looked really good.
It's good that you say that, because there's been a lot of, I think worries too strong a phrase, but let's say concern that the entire vehicle and the offerings are going to shift up market.
Yeah.
So away from the person that is going to take it out. Buy a base model, put triple lockers on and say that's enough for me, and just go and flog it for 5 years in the desert.
Yeah, and actually I totally get that concern, but I can totally bust it as well. Like, that's not the plan at all. I think what we can do is keep the Grenadier at that base level, and in fact we're always looking for ways to make it cheaper, right? We're, if that's what you want to do with the Grenadier, exactly what it was designed and built for, then we want to make that as accessible as possible. So we're always looking for ways to keep that cheaper. I think just for whether it's Arcane or, I mean, Trial Master, for me, the trim, the heavy off-road trim, I think is going to stay that way forever. And I mean, it's not a base model, it's an uprated vehicle, but as standard, you're going to get all 3 differentials. I think the Field Master is the one that we can take on a bit of a journey to just kind of say, well, actually, we can make that a little bit more, I don't know, bougie, for want of a better word, for people
That's a
that.
new word.
Oh, is it?
Hey, I try Monster.
To just try. I mean, we're a car company now. We're trying to kind of get that broad spectrum of people interested, and I think what we will hopefully achieve with the people that really did buy into this vehicle in the beginning is the credibility of what it was actually engineered for. And then for the people that are kind of more interested in the fact that it just looks nice, then I don't want to alienate them either. Let's give them a car that they want to buy, but on the sort of the kind of, this is what we built, this is what the kind of customer that we want to buy it. We're constantly looking for ways to make it more accessible and make it cheaper. We're starting to see a really kind of good used car market in some of the earlier countries than the US. It's starting in the US, but we launched in the US a year after the UK, Germany, Australia. And, you know, people are really seeing the value in the used car market. So I think we will manage to create that spectrum. That's the hope, anyway.
Yeah, that's something that we've discussed, and from day one, I've said it's like as soon as they're off the 3-year lease, I think they're going to go like hotcakes here in the States. You've got the oddball ones that people ordered on a Friday night after they'd been to the pub.
We had, unfortunately, one or two too many of those, which was a massive learning for us. By the way.
And that's because, good and bad, you weren't committed. Like, yes, I put down my $400 deposit or whatever, but I could just walk away.
And lots of people did.
And lots of people did.
And with that, we know, and they've been called out in this community, they've put maybe 5 orders in and walked away from every single one of them.
And I mean, that was April last year.
Kick in the teeth.
Was when we realized that.
Yeah.
And it was a massive kick in the teeth. Yeah. I mean, because it was, you know,
it's a lot of
several thousand cars.
Yeah, and like Stu said, they were
hoping to flip, and you know, it was right at the back end of that thing. Well, you know, when the new Bronco came out, it was going for like $40,000 over, and G-Wagons. I mean, there's one in Atlanta that was it $250,000 over book or something, and it sold. It's like that market doesn't exist anymore. COVID, you know, it passed, and all the rest of it, and
I think
that was.
We had a little bit of culpability in that as well, though. Like, because you've got to learn from these things. You've got to learn and move on and make sure it doesn't happen again. And we have. But I think that, you know, for me, it was, we were late. So lots of people, you know, maybe their lease was rolling off and they had to go and get something else. Maybe they'd lost interest, which is the second culpability. We didn't communicate. We communicated extremely poorly. We didn't do anything to keep people warm. We didn't do anything to check, you know, if someone had 5 orders in the system. You know, it was just, we were new, our systems were immature, our team was small, and I think we just kind of made mistakes, and we have to learn from them.
But just getting back to the second-hand car market, those ones, they'll get sold at whatever discount that, you know, you and the dealers negotiate. And then after a couple of years, they're going to come back in, you know. And when we were talking to Paddy, we were there, and he said, "Look, when this gets a healthy second-hand market, let's say 3 to 5 years, the aftermarket's fully tooled up and they're in production as well. This is when I think that you're going to see a lot more interest, because when a Grenadier costs 45 to 50,000 second-hand, that's straight in the face of a Jeep." That somebody's lifting up and, you know, spending all the money on. And it gets to the point of, the durability that we've talked about is what's your biggest bang for your buck at that point. And I think then you're going to start to see a push in new sales, because people have had those go, this is actually great, I want a new one. So I know the provenance of my own vehicle. Which happens in motorsport and everything else. You dip your toe in and go, right, that's for me, I'm having it.
And I think, or I'm sure, you know, hopefully, that's what's going to happen in Australia. The 70 series Toyota guys are going to eventually figure it out. And this is one of the things that we've talked about. We're like, you can go buy a brand new 70 series for X amount. But then to make it reach the level the Grenadier's at already, you're dumping another $50,000 in, because I mean, something as stupid as the rear track is narrower than the front track. That's a big problem.
And I mean, they're stripping out your whole vehicle. They're lifting it. They're putting a completely different suspension on it. They're putting different wheels on it. They're putting different brakes on it.
All of it.
And, you know, we're kind of constantly trying to get across, which is quite you know, it sounds quite easy, and it is for lots of people. But for other people, it's quite a complex message to say, okay, well, this is our starting price and this is their starting price, but you're going to spend this much, and actually ours out of the factory is, you know, to take it out of the box and go, and that's all you need to do. It's actually not that simple a message to get across to people, because, and the reason I think it is because people like to modify their cars. It makes them feel like they're doing something really interesting with their car, which they absolutely are. We're just kind of saying you don't have to.
Yeah, and I mean, that is a difference, I think, in car culture, where in America, like, you're already planning what you're doing before you've hit buy. before you sign paperwork, like for mine, I already had slider steps in my garage. I had all kinds of shit, but I hadn't even gotten a truck yet.
And I had a hard and fast rule. It's the same as when you move into a house. It's I'm not demolishing anything or changing it until I've lived with it for 12 months.
That's so you both like a very different approach.
Yeah, because I think, and I can only speak obviously as an American, but like, and this is something that plays in, I think. It was like, whether we like it or not, our identity in my world, gets tied to your car.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Now, my wife could care less. She just wants to get from point A to point B, and that's great. But for our community, it's like, it's part of your identity. So you want to customize, you want it to reflect you, and then for your specific use case.
Yeah. But I think I'm like that as well, which is why I get really excited about all the different types of people that are going to buy this car eventually. A car for me is also tied to my identity, and for me that was freedom. You know, I'm from a really small town in Scotland, and the second that you're allowed to drive in Scotland, which is 17, you know, first driving lesson on your 17th birthday, and you just can't get your driving license quick enough. And it's not because you want to leave the town, it's because you just want the freedom of being able to go around and see your friends and everything. And that was such a big part of driving for me, that I think that when we talk a lot about putting the kind of fun back into driving, or putting the driving back into driving, in a world where cars are kind of becoming like, I don't know, microwaves.
Washing machine. Yeah. I always say washing machine.
Or refrigerators, you know, and for people who do just want to get from A to B, that's absolutely fine. But I think there is such a cohort of people in the world that I'd very much include myself in, that want something completely different from a car. And it is actually in your blood, and it is something that you identify who you are with.
What was your first car?
So it was a Ford Fiesta.
I would have bet
Got
that.
it.
Yep.
Is it a 1.1?
It was a 1.1. It was A-Reg,
Oh, wow.
which I think makes it like 1982 maybe,
It's
something
like
like
a
that.
Mark II. I had one of those as well. Was it brown?
It
Mine
was
brown.
red.
Oh, flashy.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it.
Did the heater smell of chicken, roast chicken, when he put it on? Because mine did.
I don't think
For
so.
about 3 minutes, I'm like, what died in there? Whatever it is, smelled really good. I'm telling you, it smelled like roast chicken.
Maybe that was, you know,
Don't know
a selling point.
Yeah.
He was that dealer.
You can have the roast chicken one or the fresh bread one.
Yeah, because that seems to be I had a Ford Escort, which is pretty much the American version of that. That's a pretty standard kid car.
And yours was a Fiesta as well? or-
Fiesta 1.1,
Yeah.
brown.
But it had four wheels and it went.
It did.
So
I mean,
Freedom.
the insurance cost exactly the same as the value of the vehicle to buy it. That was my dad's gift to me on my 17th. There you go. You pay for the insurance next year. Oh, okay.
My dad got me mine as well.
£500 well spent, I think.
Yeah.
insurance was 500 pounds all the way back then.
Yeah, well, you're a massive liability. And the car was 500 quid. I think the car was 499, so the insurance was more than the vehicle. And then the next year, I mean, it literally drops off a cliff. And then after 3 years, you're like, yeah, it's like, I can't wait until I'm 20.
Yeah, because it dips down
Then
even
30,
more.
and it's like, oh my gosh, 30 was great. And,
Then you get married and it goes down
oh,
even better.
I don't think that works like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep. When you get married,
that's something else.
because
I've learnt about
well,
this.
as a man, they like when you're a boy, when you're 17,
You're less of a
with the
Yahoo.
most dangerous people on the road.
You're less of a Yahoo when you get married.
No, but they think you are.
Ah,
So it's all about
You're
perception.
playing the system. That's
It's
what
all about perception.
Well, I got to play the system in that regard as well, because my situation wouldn't have been as bad as you, because I was a girl and they didn't think that girls was as
That's
bad.
right. Yeah.
But this is all pre-cell phone. I wonder if that's changed. Like it's so easy to be distracted.
I don't even want to be a new driver nowadays.
No. Yeah, I listened to the one. I don't remember which one it was. Your dad was a mechanic or in mechanics.
He was a mechanic, yeah. Yeah, he was very, I mean, he was much more into cars than anything else. And, you know, I mean, I have told this story before, but, you know, he had this photo album that we found, my brother and I, when he died, which was just, well, it wasn't, sorry, one album. It was album after album after album. And it didn't have a single person in it at all. It was just every car he'd ever owned. And he had no brand loyalty, my father, because he wanted to know how everything worked. He was just curious about everything. So our car changed probably, I don't know, every 9 to 12 months.
Wow. That's unusual in the UK as well.
Yeah, and they weren't, it wasn't expensive cars. You know, these were cheap cars that he was paying cash for, that he would, you know, end up, I mean, the amount of money he will have lost and wasted in his life from just going, actually, I'm bored of this one now. I want to know how this one works. And it was everything from, you know, French to German to Japanese to American.
Well, that's good though. That's yeah, that's good.
So yeah, he just absolutely adored cars, bikes, trucks, lorries,
all of the
you
above.
name it. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah,
So it's in your blood.
I think it is. I wish that I'd learned more though. You know, I didn't. I loved the driving part, but I didn't spend time with him in his garage learning stuff, and that would probably stand me in quite good stead today if I had.
You've got some world-class engineers that can help
Yeah,
you.
which
You'll be- I think you're
everyone
covered.
should feel very grateful about that.
I think
I'm
you're
not actually tinkering. don't
Yeah,
worry.
no, that's okay though, because even if you do, it's. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're talking about mechanics and fixing stuff, we've got the first question here, and there's what we said was we'll pick from each demo, well, each geographical sales location. So the chap that we were talking about before, that one of the very early ones,
Gene, oh, Gene's awesome.
this is the one that got the most thumbs up, or whatever we want to call it, on this society that we have here. And Gene's talking about manuals.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read what he says. When will we have access to the before lunch promised maintenance and technical manuals? Some of us already own us since more than 2 years, and we have no access at all.
Yeah. We dropped the ball on this one, definitely. And do you know, part of that was because the original plan was to build a special system for owners. So there were lots of kind of promises made that were really good and right promises, but probably didn't fully encompass how difficult and how long and how expensive that would be. And so we did kick the can down the road a little bit with all of the kind of, I don't know, execution difficulties in those first couple of years of production. It was just like, get the cars out, get the quality right, get the dealer network set up, you know, get people into the grenadiers they've been waiting for quite a long time. So we definitely dropped the ball in it. And I mean, your forum wrote to me about this actually already quite some time ago. So I'm going to get to the point of giving you a timeline on this, but it kind of really brought it home to me. It's not that it was news to me. We had kind of, it was there, but it kind of brought it home to me of actually, we did make this promise. We're not honouring it. What are we going to do? So we went into the organisation and we kind of spoke about, well, look, what do we have? We're not going to build a new system, but what do we have? And is that something we could share? So we just kind of, and we took a really good look at the workshop manual that we provide to our kind of partners, our retail and service partners. And we kind of thought, well, why don't we just give you access to that? So obviously Tom Dixon agreed to be a bit of a guinea pig.
Tom D, yeah.
He
showed us some
agreed to be a
clips.
bit of a guinea pig, and we gave him access. And then, you know, he was all like, well, actually, I think this could work, Lynn. You know, it's not perfect. We know that, but it'll evolve over time. It's got some things that are quite detailed. It's got some things that are not so detailed. People have to learn the car, and that's the manual is not going to be a complete silver bullet for that, I don't think. But it's a very good starting position and much better than what you don't have today. And then, of course, Tom was kind of, he sent me a message saying, well, I've just been thrown out. What on earth's going on? And I was like, well, it's part of the reason that we wanted to test it. And as I say, thanks to Tom for doing that. Because what we didn't want to do is launch it to lots of people and then have glitches in the system. Because this is not a system. This is a system that was designed to have a few hundred service partners,
Right.
not thousands and thousands of owners. So we wanted to really test it and make sure that we don't just create bigger problems for you and for us by providing something that's not going to work. I think we're there. And I think the plan is that we're going to send out a communication next week. But what I would like to, I suppose, discuss with you guys and listen and get some feedback as well, not just tell you how it is. We'd quite like to do it in a phased way. Now, that's not like, someone gets access today and someone else gets access in 6 months' time. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's manual in that we have to kind of take every person that asks for it and create a login for them and get them into the system, right? So that's going to take, I want to kind of set expectations that, this is a bit clunkier than we'd like because it wasn't really the solution. It's just the solution we're going to give you. Now, I think we can, get out to probably the very early owners. So, I mean, there's about 5,500 globally of kind of very early owners. So the idea is we go out to those next week. So we're not talking about, like really long waiting lists here. And then, hopefully once we've been through those, we're talking about, we know how many logins we can set up in a week. We know how many we can set up in a month. So we're kind of thinking, by the next month, we should probably be going out with the next comms. But of course, it depends how many people take it up. And what I would like to make a point of, and maybe ask for your help with a little bit, is that because this system, and one of the things we're really worried about is that if everyone goes on it, do we take the whole system down so that our service partners can't use it? Lots of people will want it maybe just to have it, and my request is that they don't do that unless they're going to use it. So that's my very simple ask. That's all it is. We're going to provide it for free to the early owners, and it's not free for us.
That in itself is great because, I mean, I'll just go back to Land Rover because I've, worked on cars for years and years, and then, in the Land Rover clubs in SoCal, explain to people how to do stuff to the extent where it becomes onerous on me. Not an owner of that now, but owner of a Grenadier. And unless you get a bootleg copy, which is not, as we know, the version that's current now because things evolve crazily quick. Yeah. You need the access to like their system, and and that's a pay to access to get in, which I wouldn't have been surprised if that's the avenue that you'd have gone down, even for the very early owners. It's lovely to hear that you're throwing that out there.
So we will for new owners, right? So I think this is not, and we haven't quite scoped out when we will start charging for a subscription for this, but we can't do it for free forever, particularly if it's really popular. But for the early owners, we dropped the ball on this and we're late. We made a promise, we haven't honoured it, and we're going to honour it now. So we're going to give it for free to the early adopters. But my one ask is, if you're literally never ever going to do anything with it and you're always going to take it into the garage, then don't have it just to sit on the shelf, because that's a login that we could use for someone that will use it and that doesn't kind of stress the system too much. So that's one ask, and then the other is just an expectation setting. I mean, this car is more complex. Even, we've got very, very low electronics compared to every other car on the market, but it still has complex electronics. And I think when we were out in the very early days saying we want this to be a fix on fail wherever you are in the world, I think the vision then was a completely mechanical car that anyone would be able to fix. And we don't have that now. There are certain things that you're going to need a diagnostic machine for. So we're not planning on giving sort of really deep access into the electronic systems and stuff, because I think that will just create more problems than it helps. But for basic maintenance of your vehicle, and all the stuff that you would expect in a basic, I mean, it's not basic, it's what our service partners have, then that's absolutely fine. And I'm sorry we're late.
Oh, it's lovely to hear.
I'm
just gonna laugh if you are like 3 VINs down.
Oh, I
don't
will be.
get it.
I will be. It'll be. I'm 10,257. It'll be 10,255.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to like show any favoritism or something, but we'll make sure you guys get access.
Oh man.
Well, my VIN is. What's yours?
I'd send you a picture. Literally, I'd be like, Steve.
Are you in the 9s? Are you in the 9s?
7, something like that.
Really, that far?
You're both going to be
7 and
No, I know.
7 and a bit. I think. I don't even.
No, there's no way. You don't know your VIN number?
No, why would I remember that?
Well, I know.
It's written next to
No,
the
okay. I don't know the S and the B and all that other stuff, but I know the last 5 because that's all you need to give them when you call the dealer.
Yeah.
Like with the software update, which it took longer than people had hoped it would have taken.
Yeah.
Because you had mentioned it on, I think when you were talking to Matt Farrer, but.
We got one version done, and then we realised that we had a different head unit for some cars, and then we had to completely redo a different software fix for that. So that's on us as well, of course. but it was that we hadn't quite realized the complexity.
Yeah.
And I mean, just to give you a flavor of why, and just sort of like the complexity of this entire business, I love the automotive industry. I've loved my short time in it. Like, there's nothing that has lit me up as much. But if there's one thing that really frustrates the hell out of me, it's the incessant tinkering that goes on, mainly by European regulators.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So, the reason that there was, about 5 months worth of cars with one head unit and then every other car has a different head unit was a European regulation on cybersecurity that we had to honour. And it's caused all manner of issues. We live with that. I mean, there's no real notable difference for anyone who's driving the
it's
car.
right.
It's just how we then retrofit things like that are a bit more problematic, and hopefully we won't have to do too much more of that. I mean, I think the kind of speed nanny is another. I mean, I could just sit here and take all of the kind of mea culpas all day, because it was another one that we could have been a bit more thoughtful about for the US market.
Yeah, and it is one of those things, because I know you had even said it, it's annoying.
Oh my God, I hate it. I've got a model year 23, so I don't have it in my credit year,
Right.
and I'm not selling it.
And
Anytime.
that's what we've talked about, that, like, because I believe,
So you bought one?
Of course I bought one. I actually bought one with my money. I wasn't given it, and I bought it in one of the kind of early ones. So I put the order in I don't know, summer 22.
so before you were,
Yeah.
because you were,
saying it was delayed.
No, nobody bothered. And then
Didn't
by the
bother to
time
tell
that
you.
it was really delayed, I would have been telling myself. So, and I was kind of like, my car is the least of my concerns. We've got lots of other people's cars to get sorted.
because before you were in automotive, you were in the composites division, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I think, so with all the things that you've done, one of the things is it's not, I mean, INEOS is a huge corporation. Is it really B2B, right? I mean, it's a business to business thing. And so
100%.
this is totally different in terms of, right, interacting with dealers and customers and service agents and all that sort of stuff. So we, I think, all knew the learning curve was going to be steep. I think what some of our folks just felt is like all the early hand raisers and everyone, and then we just, I say we, I don't, but sort of all of a sudden communication stopped and they were just kind of left out in the rain. And that's something that has been sort of discussed, where, not what about us, but more like, we were the early hand raisers. We're the reason why this kind of all exists.
Yeah.
And that's where you come back to things like the manuals, where it's not going to be hard to get people back.
Well, I mean, it may be, and that is on us. But we're going to work really hard at it. And I think your point there about INEOS being B2B, I don't think that's why we dropped the ball. I think that for sure we are learning a massive amount about being a consumer-focused business. But it's much less about. I mean, I talk about this all the time. I'm like, there is only. And I say this absolutely genuinely. It sounds like the kind of thing that someone like me would say, but the customer is the only thing that matters to me. Because if we don't get that bit right, and it doesn't really matter what it is, it doesn't matter if it's communication, it's how we make promises and keep them. It doesn't matter if it's, being slightly tone deaf about a piece of advanced driver system that's not required in the US, but is in Europe and we didn't switch it off. All these things really, really matter. And if we don't get that bit right, we will not have a business. And we want to be around for a really long time. We want to build the legend. We want to build the icon. We want to build new and different cars. We want to delight people, not disappoint them. And so I think what's happened over the last couple of years is less about us not knowing how to treat the customer and less about us not caring, because we really, really do. It's more just about we had bitten off far more than we knew how to even begin to chew. And when I think back, I mean, today is just as challenging for different reasons, but when I think back to those kind of heady days of, all the parts we didn't have to build the cars that we couldn't build, we did job one because we said we've got to hit this date, and we literally did job one. The car rolled off the line, and then we said, what the hell now?